truth be told, it's probably gonna be it's gonna take God to wipe all of this shit off. we're
So
gonna have to press a reset and start all the way over. And
that's why.
I'm not speaking. I know this will never happen because first of all, America is too comfortable. Ain't nobody going out in the streets and doing half the shit that I'm talking about.
Yep.
I'm just talking. That's the only way anything is gonna really ever be
That's the
able to
only
get
way.
to the point to
That's
where
the
it's gonna
only
be
way
for people.
because this is the deal with that situation, right? Which I believe, me personally, my belief.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody entitled to their own opinion with this, but at the end of the day, I feel like all the underground cities, quote unquote, bunkers, which they got one in Kansas City, in
Mm-hmm.
Missouri. They got a big one under there. I believe that's not for us. I believe that's for
It's not.
them. I believe that's for them to go hiding. That don't
We
think it's for us.
we're in the middle of a modern day colonization of America, people. And
The
I
enemy
think
within.
that, huh?
It's the enemy within that they let in.
They let them in. So with that being said, I truly feel as if, and I'm quite sure they're probably gonna shadow ban this video because they don't that like if I was Joe Rogan, this is another thing that's so messed up. If I was Joe Rogan, this shit would go. They don't want niggas talking about nothing other than nigga shit. But
Nah,
we
you
ain't
don't.
niggas.
But do you
We just
know?
happen to be melanated people.
Once
And we
again,
can't have these type of conversations because if I was Joe Rogan talking about this shit, oh, ooh, that's that real shit. But see, when you're black and you're talking about something, you're talking with sense. When you're not talking from a place of a nigga, it's the problem.
Right.
It's the real life problem. And I'm looking at this situation right now when it comes to what you was talking about, Mark, about the little case that's taking place with the Metcalf chick, the Metcalf kid, that situation.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is planned. It just looked planned. It feels very manipulated to create more division amongst
Manipulated by
Americans.
who though?
I believe it's manipulated by the same people that's possibly putting together these no king rallies. Honestly, I feel like the
Yeah.
shit is all, huh?
Whatever happened to that guy that unalive what is Yoshi something? Whatever happened to that guy? We don't hear about him no more.
Ooh,
The Italian dude or something.
oh, you talking about
We don't hear from him.
Luigi?
Huh?
Luigi?
We don't hear about him at all no more, right?
Nah, we don't.
Okay. And we definitely don't know about the CK person.
Talking about Kurt?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, and then what I'm saying, and I saw you, fool. The reason why I said I think that it's manipulated by the same people who do the No Kings and the whole, because these are the same people that control the media. The thing is when it comes to the media, I can't. I'm not even so involved in the situation because I don't like to emotionally attach myself to situations where I don't have the facts. And I feel like that we all do not have the facts. We don't. None of us have seen the video. We don't know what happened. We're only going based upon what we're seeing on social media or what the media is telling us. We're hearing two different stories when it comes to what happened on that football field. So they've made it more racial and more political as opposed to what's right and what's wrong. If that boy did that and he didn't do it by defending himself, then whatever happens, happens. But it's going to be an ugly situation on either way. No matter how it turns out, it's going to be a violent situation that's going to take place. If the boy who actually did the stabbing, if he wins, you know what's going to happen out there. It's going to be like J6 in that bitch. Like, it's going to go crazy. If the boy who actually did the stabbing does not win, then you know black folks is gonna act a damn fool out there. So it's damn near like we're in this space right now where people are moving so much on emotion and not facts that it's becoming political and it's becoming racial, and that is creating a divide and taking our focus off of the things that we need to be focused on, which is what the hell is going on with making sure that America is first. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
That's why everything that you just said We've talked about this shit at hominem for years. They want the race war. That's all. That's their focus. They have to do that because that's the other big distraction. That's why now the Carmelo Anthony trial is popping up. Then you factor in the Asian thing that you talked about. That's 2 fucking years old. They bring some shit that was 2 years old back up, and she said it in her video. Where the fuck was Al Sharpton? Where was DL Hughley? Where all the motherfuckers at? You know why they don't need to do that shit? Because you have people talking about it on fucking line. That's why. Because they want to spark that shit where motherfuckers doing lives and going back and forth and all that shit. No. The bottom line is right is right, wrong is wrong. There's no getting around that shit. When I watch Mark doing his live or whatever, the kid was good in school, he was an athlete, and he had both parents. I want his shit. Ain't nothing to talk about. Ain't nothing to talk about. And you pulled out a knife? Where you learn how to use the knife at? Get the fuck out of here. Like, none of that shit makes no fucking sense.
It's not that hard to use a knife.
No, what I'm saying is, you can't, to me, the last thing you're gonna do in 2026 is label a motherfucker a young nigga and he use a knife. That's not even an option. Motherfucker shooting. We know
we ain't using no knife. I mean, you better be using these than getting a knife.
That's why my whole thing is it all boils down to they doing whatever they can. It has to be a race war. It has to be. And they keep pushing this shit and they're putting everything in our face. You got that case. You got that case. You got what's going on with the data centers. You got these motherfuckers blatantly in your face stealing an election in California. They told you he was going to do this shit, and all of this shit is just culminating. And they want it to explode, but people ain't falling for it. That's the only solace that we have, is that people ain't falling for this shit. They not. Motherfuckers like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm straight. I got to go to work. It's too much shit going on for me to be worried about this shit. I actually have to go make my money and go to work.
All right, so I have a lot of thoughts about this, and I wanted to hear what everybody had to say real quick before I, said my piece. To be honest with you, as someone who's down here and has been down here for a while, even though I don't live in Frisco, I spend quite a bit of time in Frisco. So I'm well versed as to the lifestyle and the atmosphere that Frisco is. And when you look at the totality of what's happening in this situation, I feel like it's the culminating of multiple perfect storms happening all at once, right? You got the perfect storm happening of, it just so happens that you got a white kid and a black kid. And it just so happens where the perfect storm part comes in, it was the black kid who killed the white kid. If the white kid had killed the black kid, it would already be hook, line, and sinker. It is what it is.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Mark, hold up. And what would be happening if it's a black kid on a black kid?
Nobody would be saying anything.
Oh, they wouldn't say shit. They wouldn't say shit. That shit wouldn't even hit headline news at all.
What would happen if it was a white kid that killed a white kid?
It still wouldn't have made the news.
It still wouldn't have been no headline news.
It was the perfect storm because it was a black kid killing the white kid. That was the, and then they can spin the avenue of trying to say that this is perfect. Well, this is self-defense, right? And so it's not quite self-defense, but it's not quite murder. It's somewhere in that gray area. That's a perfect storm, and it's a lightning rod for the powers that be in the black bourgeoisie. The Roland Martin types, the Joy Reeds, Jasmine Crockett, Kamala Harris, the whole band of characters, right? Ladies and gentlemen, when you look at the facts of the situation, they want you to believe that this was racially motivated. I can personally assure you race had nothing to do with that. While people want you to believe that Texas is some sort of super racist, bigoted place, and while in some areas that may be the case, in Frisco, in areas in Dallas, in Houston, where it's kind of like melting pots, where you have all kinds of cultures clashing all at once. And then not only that, these boys were athletes, both of them. They both played football. They both ran track. They both adhered to a certain code. Both of these boys had white players and black players on both of their teams. And out of every single eyewitness, not one of them mentioned a single thing about race or any kind of racial comments being made. But when you listen to the commentary, especially what's being heard in the black community, it's everything. It was these white boys, these big old white boys against this black man, and he had to defend himself. You're trying to create a scenario that didn't exist. you're trying to paint this as if Carmelo wasn't the aggressor. He was the one who was in a place where he didn't belong. He was the one with the knife.
How many times was he asked to
15
leave?
times they asked him to leave. So you're effectively trespassing because what you did was tantamount to going into another team's locker room. So you already out of pocket right there. Then you've been asked to leave multiple times by multiple people. It wasn't just Austin who asked him to leave. It was Austin who ultimately got into the altercation with him. But it was multiple people who had asked him to leave. And like I said, when they would,
can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Where did you hear that information that they asked him to leave 15 times?
Oh, that's the court transcript.
That's in the court transcript. I'm just wondering.
So they never tell us this.
Because I just thought that it was interesting.
I never heard this. Yeah, this is my first time hearing this.
This is my first time hearing it, especially considering that if that was the case, then why is it would they give him permission to be underneath that tent? They gave him permission to be there.
They didn't.
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
He wasn't supposed to be in there.
He wasn't supposed to be in there.
Can I ask y'all everyone ask everyone a question? And it's for everybody that's watching.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell us this all before.
Why, fam? Why would they? They don't. It'd never happen like that. And Mark knows more about the story. I just recently heard they want to make it a black-white thing. They were saying the black players on the white dudes team was the ones that approached him first. Like, man, get the fuck out of here. They ain't talking about that shit.
They only said Austin was picking on him.
No.
That's the storyline they gave us.
No.
Austin was picking on him.
Nope.
Carmelo was the aggressor. Carmelo started the whole
They
shit.
say Austin was the aggressor.
Nah, that ain't what I heard.
Nope. Austin was not the
So
aggressor.
then it changed the police report?
No, Austin was merely trying to de-escalate the situation, in all honesty, and that's by over 21 people's accounts. The prosecution called 21 people for eyewitnesses, and then the defense called another 5 on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm correct when I say this, 3 of the 5 corroborated the story of the eyewitnesses from the prosecution. So you can't have your star witness, which is the guy, Eddie Parra, who was allegedly the friend that Carmelo knew, which really wasn't a friend. It was more so a guy that he knew because his girlfriend was friends with him, right? Remember, in one of the videos that I put on TikTok, I mentioned that my theory behind this was it wasn't random that Carmelo happened to be in Memorial's tent that day. It wasn't random that he had his hand on a knife or that he had a knife in a football stadium. Again, I go to baseball games, football games all the time. There's metal detectors. You don't just bring weapons into stadiums. You don't
bring weapons in the. And so, as being an athlete, as I was an athlete, we not having no weapons on us.
Exactly, because
this shit is so whack because it's only being publicized, honestly, because it's a black boy who killed a white boy. That's the thing that really trips me out. If it was, let me just say this real fast. This shit happens all the time. All the time.
Yes.
Where a student or a young person kills another young person. But it happens all the time. This is what's pissing me off about it, is you guys are making it racial. Y'all are making it racial. Y'all are making it political. It's left versus right. I heard somebody today. Why do y'all have to bring Republican and Democrat into every fucking conversation? It makes no sense. Everything is not political. Everything is not racial either.
Yo, I made a post. I swear to God, I'm so glad you said that shit. I made a post about the ageism and how like politicians need to be following how certain people got to retire.
Yeah.
This clown motherfucker that's on my Facebook page was saying, so do you believe that the president should have an age limit? I said to him, I've said on numerous occasions, if you are an elected official, if they got to set a retirement age for everybody else, y'all should follow it too. I was like, I agree with you. This dude he be hawking my shit. But this is what happened. Listen to this. What happened? After I agree with him, he immediately take the shit to Trump. But what about fam? They can't help it. See, that like poison pill has seeped to the people. Because you have to think about the shift. It was never always left right. People used to always have conversations. They made it left right. They made it so if you if vax or unvax, what's the other shit? Commie, what? It's always something. They always have to have people going after the boogeyman. Fuck all that shit.
But ain't it on you if you're not smart enough to peep the play?
No, that's the thing. We're smart enough to say it. Those motherfuckers are brainwashed, but here's the trick to that. They are the minority, but they always show them on media like they are everybody. No.
Who has the biggest voice?
It's always going to be the media.
Mm-hmm. Who has the biggest
It's always
voice?
going to be. That's why us doing what we're doing carries so much weight, because we constantly spit out truth. They refuse to do some shit like this. That's when, and then they show their hypocrisy. One of the greatest examples of what we're talking about is, how is our government, this is the taxation by representation, how the SAVE Act didn't get passed. Y'all have the numbers. The entire country saying we want this shit. But they're in their emotions, how they feel, you don't have the right to do that shit. And it's no revolt. That's where the revolt should be. The revolt should be on that. It should be on this goddamn corruption, and should be on election integrity. Those three motherfuckers agree on. A lot of us, I'm not gonna say a lot of us.
Too much, right? That's too much like right.